Hi, I'm Tim Bartz, Internet Sales Manager here at McArthur Ford in Salina, Kansas. Your source for Ford news, update, and information, including your scheduling information here on a Thursday or a Tuesday afternoon here, and we are going to cover the scheduling information for this Thursday, November 20th, 2025. So you can have a good idea if you're wanting to get your vehicle scheduled for a production date. Then this is a good video for you to watch. Now, make sure you're subscribed to the bell notification turned on so you don't miss any of our other videos. If you like videos like this or want to check out our live stream, but we're going to get into this. We're going to talk about scheduling. The first one I do is go over some of the terminologies that is available here. So let me jump over to that. All right, now let's get into terminology. The order bank is where we place all of our stock and retail orders. So retail order is that customer placed order, whereas a stock order is that one for stock or lot inventory for dealers. And we'll get into a lot more of that in today's video because they are opening up for main commitment, which will be stock in retail scheduling. Now, order priority code, that's a priority given to the dealer, given to the orders by the dealer. A retail order type it's a default is 19, but it could be anywhere from 03 to 19, and the lower the better. So a dealer can move some of those order numbers, priority codes, I should say, down to 03 if they need to. Now, 20 to 80 are stock order types. So again, 80 is a default, but a dealer can, have some priorities to some of their stock orders and make them a 20 if they'd like to. All right. When scheduling, that's when Ford schedules an order for production dates in the future month. That's what we're talking about here, that they do that on Thursdays. And so this is scheduling information for Thursday, November 20th, and what they're scheduling for those production dates in the future. And the production date is when that Ford plans to build your vehicle. First, it'll scheduled to the week. Like this Thursday, we first get scheduled the week, and then as it gets closer, to get it scheduled to the day. Now, allocations. This is a big one. I like to underline that, make it bold, asterisk and everything, because allocations are key here, because if Ford gives dealers allocations to schedule their orders, because an order cannot be scheduled without an allocation. So they need to have an allocation to get an order scheduled. A dealer earns those allocations based on their sales of each model within their region. So the better that they sell a certain model, the more allocations they're going to receive. Constraints, that's an option that may be in short supply or take longer to build. We'll talk about some of the constraints here in this video. And then capacity, that's the planned production rate of a given motor, trim, or option. And we don't always have those numbers necessarily, but sometimes at the beginning of each month, they might tell us what the capacity is going to be, breakdown of each of the different trim levels sometimes, and sometimes even based on the motor as well. And then job 1 and 2, Ford will split their production run into a couple different jobs. It's what they like to call it jobs. And that just allows them to be able to introduce a new color or a new option, or if they're having supplier issues, to make a change to a package or something if they need to for job 2 to continue production of that particular trim or model. And then balance out, that's the end of production or the balance out of balancing out the dealer's allocations or balancing out a model altogether for the end of the model year. Won't probably get into that for too much until later in the year or into 2026, because they've just started production on pretty much everything at this point, and they're done balancing out. Although I think there is once where I will mention balancing out on a 25 model year. So there you go. All right, so let's get into this and start first talking about the 26 model year Mustang. The order banks are open up. They are scheduled this week. Main commitment, which again means, like we mentioned earlier, could be stock as well as retail orders. And because retail is always looked at first, it will get scheduled before a stock would if there is a retail order in there. They are scheduled for the weeks of 12/1 through the weeks of 1/19. Does say exhaust availability for basically every motor. So I'm not sure how we read that as a dealer and having available allocations. But according to this, they pretty must have scheduled most of all their production already. Within the dates that they're scheduling for, it does say they're exhausted for the 5.0 liter engine, the 2.3 liter EcoBoost, as well as the modified 5.0, which is what we see in the Dark Horse. So not sure how to read that, other than more than likely they're not going to schedule a lot more for these dates. All right. Next up is a 26 model year Bronco Sport. Order banks are open up for that. They are doing main commitment as well, so stock as well as retail scheduling. They're scheduled for the weeks of January 5th to the weeks of January 26th. Engine block heater will not be selected for scheduling. Also, limit availability for the all-season tire that we see that's standard on the Big Ben. So they are asking people to go to the all-terrain tire. And the best way to do that is select that optional wheel that dark carbonized gray wheel, that gets that all-terrain tire. So that's the best way of doing that on those big bin orders, or adding the Black Diamond off-road package as well. Another couple things else that are limited availability, and that's the Outer Banks version and the Outer Banks with the Sasquatch package. And then exhausted availability for Badlands and Heritage Edition. So it looks like for the most part, what they can schedule right now for dealers that have allocations available and not retail orders, if they're placing that stock to try to use those allocations, you want to look for a Big Ben with that Black Diamond package or that optional wheel. That's probably your best case scenario here. All right, next up is the 26 model year Bronco. Order banks are open up. They are scheduled both stock and retail scheduling this week for the weeks of January 12th to the weeks of January 26th. Does say that they did create some orders for Bronco base this week for dealers, and they have their exhaustive availability is for the Raptor. So everything else is good to get scheduled for this week. All right, next up is a 26 model year Mustang Mach-E. Order banks are open up for the Mach-E. They are scheduled both retail and stock scheduling, so they'll open it up for stock now this week. They're scheduled for the weeks of January 12th to the weeks of January 26th. Next up is a 26 model year Explorer. Order banks are open up for the Explorer. They are scheduling as well this week. A main commitment, again, that means stock and retail ordering. Orders will be looked at for the weeks of January 5th to the weeks of January 26th. Does say in here that the active version is about exhausted. The best way to get your active orders scheduled is to consider adding the active comfort package to your orders. If you have some stock, some allocations that need to be used, that's the best way, because you'll see it is exhausted availability for the active trim, standard active. Again, add the comfort package, you should be good. ST line, ST, platinum, and ST line street package. So really about everything is restricted this week, with the exception of your Tremor with the 3.0 engine or your active comfort package on the active. So that's about probably the only two things they're going to schedule for this week. So all right, next up is the 26 model year Expedition. Order banks are open up for those. They are doing main commitment. Again, that means stock and retail will both be looked at for scheduling for the weeks of 12/29 through the weeks of January 26th. Exhaustive availability for the Tremor package as well as the King Ranch version. So better chance if you're a dealer out there, you don't have a retail order, need to use your allocations on a stock order. Look for active, look for platinum. All right, next up is the 26 model year Maverick. Order banks are open up for the Maverick. They are scheduled this week. Main commitment, again, stock and retail scheduling will be looked for. Scheduled for the weeks of January 5th to the week of January 26th. Don't forget Marsh Gray paint is not going to be available on 26th. And also don't forget that light blue exterior color is available to order, but it will not get selected for scheduling. It's a late availability color. Won't be available yet until after they've done some testing, and then we'll keep you updated on that. Also, don't forget that dealer installed option bed covers, the soft roll up and the retractable will not be selected for scheduling either. So make sure you take those off your orders or be okay to wait. Limited availability for the Tremor version. Also, exhaust availability for the standard tire on the XL and XLT. So consider going to the Black Appearance package or adding the FX4 off-road package, one of those two things, to your XL or XLT orders. Well, I guess XLT orders. XL, you can't add those. Anyway, all right. Next up is a 26 model year Ranger. Order banks are open up, and they're doing main commitment. Again, that means stock and retail will both be looked at for scheduling and using those allocations. They're scheduled for the weeks of January 12th through the weeks of January 26th, and no other constraints there on Ranger. All right. Next up is a 26 model year Super Duty. Order banks are open up. They are scheduled this week for the weeks of December 15th to the weeks of January 5th at both plants, and still needing those orders for the bench seat for regular and super cab on XL, XLT, and Lariat versions for F250s and 350s. Limited availability for the F450, Platinum Plus, the dualies. Dual rear wheels, also limited availability. And then also a couple different wheels. The 17-inch forged polished aluminum wheel that's standard on Lariat, King Ranch, and Platinum F350s, and optional on XL and XLT F350s, as well as a 17-inch forged polished aluminum wheel that's included in the F350 heavy-duty payload package. Be aware of that. And then just like last week on the interior trims, 2S, 2J, 3J, 3S, 5J, and 6J are limited availability as well. So that the platinum interior is not listed in there. That would be like 7J, and then 4J. I can't remember what one that is, but there you go. So I think 5J is your Lariat, but just take a note of your interior color, and you can see if that's going to cause you from getting scheduled. So, and it does say limited availability, not exhausted. So it doesn't mean you don't have a chance at getting scheduled. It's just, it's going to be a little more difficult. So. All right, next up is a 26 model year F-150. The order banks are open up. They are scheduled this week for the weeks of December 8th through the weeks of January 26th. Again, we've moved on from 25. 25 model year has officially balanced out. So if you had that order in 25, you're done. It's not getting scheduled. Place your 26 order now. I know there's some dealers still trying to hold out, and they're done. Balanced out 25 model year. All right. A couple of changes here that they noted in here. It does say that they did put in some sim orders for dealers that have allocations for Raptor. So they put in some Raptor, base Raptors and some Raptor Rs into the order system for those dealers that have allocations. And also it does say in here, the paint colors Argon Blue, Avalanche, Ruby Red are no longer compatible with the 200B and 201A. Those are STX equipment groups there. Also on a 500A for the Lariat and a 300A for XLT, as well as the 301A and 302A trim levels, unless you include the chrome package or the black appearance package on a 301 or 302A. So that is a change there that they're making. They say the tailgate step 63T is no longer offered on the following premium trim configurations: the King Ranch 600A and 601A, the Platinum Plus 703A, and the Platinum Base with the satin package on 300A or 700A, 701A, and 702A with the 719G package. So you might have to look that up. And then limited availability for the 5.0 liter V8 engine, the hybrid engine, the 2.7 gas engine, and the 18-inch gloss black wheel that's standard on STX 200B. It's also included an XLT black appearance package and Lariat black appearance package for the 500A, I should say. Also, the electronic locking axle XLB. So you want to look at your axle and see if that's your axle, but that one also is limited availability. So limited availability doesn't mean it goes limited availability and then exhausted is worse. So these say limited availability, not exhausted. So there is still a chance for these orders, even if that's listed in there, just so you're aware of that. 26 model year F-150 Lightning order banks are open up, but they are not going to be scheduling for a while. So expect to resume scheduling, it says, in late February. So scheduling in late February. So we're not talking about for production. They're not going to produce a Lightning in the month of January or February. So you're aware of that. Next up, 26 model year Transit order banks are open up. They are scheduled this week for the weeks of December 8th to the weeks of January 12th. Just like last week, best availability is a high roof extended van, high roof long van, low roof van, medium roof van, all cutaways and chassis cabs, and the non-EcoBoost 3.5 engine right there. So there you go. So that's all the information for this week. Hopefully that helps you out getting your order scheduled. Good luck to everybody. Let us know down below if you get scheduled. Let us know if you have any questions that I might be able to help you with and can weed through this and use those timestamps to move around and revisit the model that you're interested in if you need to go back. And hopefully you get some good information out of this. And come over to our live stream if you have any questions. I can answer those questions for you live tonight, or drop them down below. So thanks for watching this video. Make sure you're subscribed with the bell notification turned on so you don't miss any of these videos. Smash that like button. I really appreciate it as well. And until the next video, stay positive, be kind to one another, be kind to yourself. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.